And within an instant, I saw a semi-truck coming from the right side, and just like that, everything was black. I remember opening my eyes, seeing all the mayhem and debris in front of me, and my back was up against the semi-truck.
Like in some accidents, people, they lose memory of, an hour before in some cases. Like, it's interesting that you remember up to the second of the impact too.
There's so many different things that are happening. It's not just, losing weight and just sleeping, right? You're in a bit of pain. The morphine, like having to get used to being stuck in this bed. So I would have that mental moment of I'm uncomfortable, but I can't adjust myself. My entire life was like getting cut from hockey teams, right? And I think for me, the next step was like, okay, what's next? I want to get back in a sport. It taught me so many valuable life lessons. So the next best thing for me, instead of hockey, was sled hockey. Pivotal moments in my life, and the theme, or the quote that I kept coming back to each and every time I faced adversity was something my dad told me the first time I got cut was, when one door closes, another one opens.
All right, Ryan, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So this is Ryan, and I'm going to get your name wrong, but Straschnitzki.
There you go.
Did I do it? Okay. Yeah. All right, good. I wrote it down phonetically, so that's cool. So super glad you could make it. You live close to Calgary, up in Airdrie, and we have lots to talk about. You were one of the individuals that was on the Humboldt bus accident back in 2018. Is that right? 2018. And, the short story today is you came from that, you were playing hockey, you participated in Paralympic hockey for a little while, and now you've transitioned over to being in basketball, and you're targeting into the Olympic basketball environment. And that's so exciting. And it's going to be, we got to find out about all this stuff. So I think what a lot of people are going to be curious about is, on how old were you in 18?
I was 18 years old.
Oh, you were 18 back then. Wow. Life-changing. So you get on the bus, it's a normal day. And then big things happen. So short story, because I think a lot of people know the story, but, what was the story from your perspective? And
So it was my rookie year in Humboldt. I was 18 years old, first year junior hockey, trying to impress some college scouts to play at the next level, at the college level, in order to make pro hockey maybe in the future. It was playoffs, and we were in the semifinal against a team called the Nipawin Hawks, and we were in game 5. We were down 3-1. This was an elimination game. So we're going into Nipawin. We're on the team bus. We have our dress clothes on, listen to music, reading a book, do whatever it is that you do to focus up. All of a sudden, I hear a scream from the front of the bus, and I look down the aisle, and the bus driver has both his hands on the wheel, and he's looking to his right. And within an instant, I saw a semi-truck coming from the right side, and just like that, everything was black. I don't know how much long after I woke up. I remember opening my eyes and seeing all the mayhem and debris in front of me, and my back was up against the semi-truck. And
how far do you think you went from where you were when you got hit to where you landed, do you think?
I don't know. It's hard to tell.
But you left the bus.
Yes.
You weren't on the bus.
No, I got ejected from the bus, and that's where doctors think I broke my back. Based on the trajectory and wherever I ended up. But I just remember waking up, and my first instinct was just to get up and first stand up, make sure you're not injured, right? And so I go to move, and I'm kind of stuck. So I go to move again, stuck, and I'm thinking I got to move whatever it is that's holding me down. And I look out in front of me, and there's nothing there. It's just my legs. They're not moving. They're unresponsive. And instantly I know something's wrong, right? And my next instinct is just to yell for help, someone, anyone. But the injuries that I had to my lungs, ribs, and head, I couldn't do that either. So at this point, I'm just going in and out of consciousness. Can't even wrap my head around what's going on. And I'm thinking, what, am I going to make it out of this?
It is interesting that, like in some accidents, people, they lose memory of, like from, an hour before in some cases. Like, it's interesting that you remember up to the second of the impact too, hey?
Yeah, I talked to my teammates as well. There was no recollection from anyone else. They don't even remember, leaving anything from that day. Whereas I feel like I remember everything leading up to it, the book that I was reading, the music, the song that I had on, and then everything that happened afterwards, right? I don't know why I didn't lose consciousness, but maybe it's a blessing in disguise where I can maybe give some closure to certain people. But I have no idea why I still remember it.
I always find it shocking because every once in a while you'll see some bizarro video of an accident and you see a person ragdoll out of a vehicle, and it's just like, what? It's amazing a human that it's even possible to stay alive in that environment. Like, it's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, the human body is capable of taking a lot. But for me, I've seen those videos, right? Everyone has X, I imagine. And just seeing that and wondering, how did I survive? It stirs a lot of questions and stuff that'll never get answered.
Did you, and this is kind of personal, I guess, too, but obviously people didn't survive. And then, you survive. And was there ever this sense of, why am I here now? And, these other people didn't survive. And did you ever get to that low point?
A couple times. I mean, there was times where I thought, obviously why must have been the seat I was in, the timing of everything, for it to have happened on that day, at that time, at that intersection was something that you'll never get the answer to. So I tried my best just to forget about it and move forward. And it's weird. It's a weird coincidence.
Do you stay pretty tight with the other team, like the rest of the team now?
For the most part. I mean, we're all, tightly knit, whether we like it or not. Everyone's growing up. Everyone's starting to get married. Everyone's, doing their own thing and growing up, because we were 18, 19, 20-year-old kids. Now guys are almost 30 and they're having kids. They're getting married, and it's kind of scary. You're like, guys, slow down, But for me, I'm just like, the brothers for life, essentially.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, that's wild. Amazing. So big life changer, kind of put everything on hold, and then you had to go into recovery probably for a long time. And that was like total time. You think it was like a year-ish or?
Yeah, I mean, it went on for a long time. Like I was about 3 weeks in Saskatoon in emergency, and then I got airlifted to the Foothills Hospital here in Calgary. And then that was about a month and a bit. And then I flew to Philadelphia for rehab. Yeah. And then when I moved back to Calgary, my house had to get renovated, and me and my family lived in a hotel for about nine months.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, why Philadelphia? What goes on there?
So I had a group called the Shriners reach out about this spinal cord injury specific hospital that they had in Philly, where it would speed up the rehabilitation process. Right. So when I was 18, obviously you're still considered a kid there. So I got funding, and I went down there with my dad for a month and sped it up and came back home. Was it good? It was cool. It was a different experience. So I've never been to Philly before that. Yeah. And where we were at, the food, everything was pretty good. Got to go to a Phillies game, meet the Flyers. It was cool. Such a great experience.
Yeah. I would imagine that being in good shape going into that probably helped in recovery time, right? You have muscle mass.
So when I was injured, I was about 195 pounds. But over the course of, to the end of Philadelphia, I had lost 50 pounds. So I was about 145. Yeah, 145. Was not really in shape, wasn't eating great. I was just eating anything to try to pack on calories, right? So 145 pounds. Our team bleached our hairs. We were all beach blonde, right? Yeah. And it stuck in my hair. So I have this skinny kid with blonde hair from Canada, and all these people from Philly are like, "What? Where did you come from?" Right?
Wow. Jeez, 50 pounds is a lot at 200 pounds. That's significant.
Well, I was just sleeping all day, right? You wake up for 5 minutes and then you're out for the rest of the day, or my mom tried to give me protein shakes, the main ones, and I'd have a sip and be full and just go right back to sleep. So
wow. Yeah. That's wild. Yeah. But then what's your body going to do with the protein? You're recovering, but you're not building. You're just kind of deteriorating at that point.
And there's so many different things that are happening. It's not just, losing weight and just sleeping, right? You're in a bit of pain. The morphine, having to get used to being stuck in this bed. I don't know if you have that feeling when you're uncomfortably kind of move around and get comfy. So I would have that mental moment of I'm uncomfortable, but I can't adjust myself. I can't move in this hospital bed. I'm on my back, and I hate sleeping on my back. Yeah. So for me to not be able to move was just driving me mentally insane. Yeah. So that was one of the other.
Well, you couldn't roll over anything.
Because I had fractured or had broken my collarbone on the left side, so it was hard to move it and use it. And then next came the nerve pain was the next step, which was I just try to describe it to people as A535, but on the inside, and a stinging burning.
It's a burning.
It's around the abdominal area, the lower back, the triceps was really bad. To the point where the nurses had to get me to stop hitting the morphine button. Really? It was so painful. Yeah.
Wow. That's wild. I had a bit of surgery. We were talking off camera, and it was, it was similar, not similar, but it was wow. I totally get it. It was you can't lay on your side. You can only lay in one position, and you can't turn because you're numb and nothing's working. Yeah. Yeah. That's wild. Yeah. You can turn around now. You can.
Yeah, I'm a stomach sleeper, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. So now you get all recovered up, and probably there was a moment there. It was now what? So, and you're an athlete, so you got athlete brain.
Yeah, I mean, my entire life was like getting cut from hockey teams, right?
Yeah.
And I think for me, the next step was like, okay, what's next? I want to get back into sport. It taught me so many valuable life lessons. So the next best thing for me, instead of hockey, was sled hockey. I thought, okay, well, I'm going to play for Team Canada. I'm going to gun for the Paralympics and try to win a gold medal.
Yeah.
That was goal number one. And so 4 months after the accident, I got into the ice for the first time in a sled. Wow. Friends and family out there, just really enjoying it. But I thought, there's something more to this, like something sparks within you. And you're kind of motivated to think, like, how far can I take this? So you start putting in the work, training, finding ice, doing whatever you can to get good at the sport. Yeah. And that's exactly what I did, right? And I worked my way within 2 years. I was within the national program and was striving closer and closer to that Paralympic dream.
Yeah. And so what's up with hockey now? Are you done with hockey?
Yeah. So back in 2023, in September, I got invited to try out for the Paralympic team for Italy coming up next year. And they basically told me that with the level of my ability, so for my level of spinal cord injury, I actually don't have core muscles to help keep me stabilized. Oh, yeah. So to be in a sled, to stay stable, and then play against someone who maybe has an amputated leg, who can use his full body, it's going to be faster, efficient. And for me, it was just something that I physically couldn't keep up with. Yeah, for sure. So I had to come to terms with that. And then, once I got cut, it kind of gave me that closure. That closed door happened in front of me. Yeah. So the next open door for me was, wheelchair basketball. And I thought, well, it's a team sport, something that I can compete in, and it doesn't require having a full working body, right? You can actually play with no core in a certain sports chair. So I thought, all right, this is the next goal. So diverting that energy and work ethic and everything I learned from hockey and basketball has been has had its challenges, but it's been good.
What's the difference to the chair? Like what's unique about the basketball chair?
So the sports chair has 4 small tires, 2 in the front, 2 in the back, so you don't tip. Yeah. And then it has cambered wheels, which are kind of angled, so you can spin. And then if you're going to go fast forward, you're not going to have any speed wobbles. And it allows you to play the game faster and more efficient. So that's kind of the sports chair.
Is it quite small too? Like is it narrow? It's not like a normal chair that would.
It depends on the person, right? Like some guys are in really wide chairs, and then they have this front bumper that actually collides with other chairs, so that you can actually have a little bit of contact in basketball. Yeah. So every chair is different. Mine's relatively similar to my day chair. Yeah. It's just shaped differently.
Oh, that's cool. I don't know this because I know I've watched wheelchair basketball, but I haven't really paid attention. There's no dribbling. You're carrying the ball in your lap, right?
So you have to dribble once, and then you can take 2 strides, and then you got to dribble again. Oh, okay. So there is traveling rules. For the most part, guys will throw the ball in front of them, take enough speed so they don't have to keep striding, and they'll use their hips to turn and stuff, or they'll dribble and spin and do all these sorts of things. But if you ever YouTube it or watch it, you'll kind of. Like after playing it for about 2 years now, I have a massive respect for these guys because it's you look at it and you're like, oh, that should be easy, right? No problem. But the chair skills that go into it, the smarts, the quickness, and getting bumped as well, chair to chair, is something that I admire a lot about the sport.
Wow! So you can steal the ball from someone as well, like you could.
Oh yeah, same thing. Obviously, no physical contact, but if they hold the ball out and you hit it out of their hand, you're good to go.
Oh, that's cool. And it's still 5 on the court? Yeah,
5 on the court. Awesome. And then, so how wheelchair basketball works is there's a point system. Yeah. So I mentioned in sled hockey, I wasn't able to keep up with my ability. So there's no point system in sled hockey. Yeah. Versus basketball, it goes starting from a 1.0 based on your level of ability. So I'm a 1.0 having no core function, being a spinal cord injury patient, right? Like that's kind of my class versus a 4.5, which is the highest you can go, which is usually a single leg amp who has full body function, sits way taller, has, is a little more skilled, right? Yeah. And from there it goes down in 0.5 increments based on your ability. There's classifiers and stuff that go through that process. But essentially on the court, you can have 14 points on the court at once. At the national level.
Oh, that's really smart.
Right. So everyone has to kind of find the right puzzle that works, right? Yeah. Do you have 3, 4, 5s and a couple 1-0s out there, or do you have middle classes, right? Yeah. So it's a cool sport that way.
Yeah. I remember when my son was playing, we had kids against the dads. I quickly learned that I have no cardio, or I didn't at that point. Is cardio, does that matter much? Because you're still giving her.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I think the hardest part is the taxation on your shoulders. Yeah. Right. It's because it's, physically grueling when you have to stride really fast, stop, spin, do all that, and keep your cardio up. So playing 40 minutes a game and doing all these different things it's a good workout. So if you need help, try wheelchair basketball.
Wow. You probably have terrific shoulders, hey? Like good shoulder development.
Yeah, for the most part. But compared to some guys, so
really,
some of those guys are just absolutely insanely jacked.
They're on steroids. That's what it is. Do they steroid test in the Paralympics?
Yeah,
so that would be wild.
Yeah, at the Olympic and Paralympic level, there's so many different things you can and can't take.
Yeah.
You got to look for that check mark on stuff. So.
Wow. So you must hit the gym quite a bit too then, on top of just playing. You have to be doing weights.
I train about 4 days a week in the gym. I go to a place called Orca in Calgary. I work with a trainer there who's letting me train there for almost for free basically, but I'm a sponsored athlete, I guess, under the Orca umbrella, and I'm very, very lucky because it's good training, good environment, and I love going there because it's just fun. It makes you want to keep showing up. Aside from the personal motivation, there's that factor of, do I enjoy going to the gym because of this and this and this. So I train 4 days a week in the gym, and then it's about 3 to 4 times a week on the court as well to work on basketball skills because as we mentioned off camera, was some of these guys have been playing on the national team longer than I've been alive.
Yeah,
so what can I do to reduce that gap, right? And that's doing as much as I can, both on and off the court.
Yeah. Can you do a pull-up with your chair attached?
Yes, yeah. If we have the right setup,
man. That's awesome.
It's not easy, but
it's that's terrific, man. Yeah, I'm trying, but it's not working. Not there. I'm definitely not there. So that's cool. Yeah. So you must do a lot of. Yeah, you would do a lot of, it's all going to be upper body and then lots of shoulders, lots of back, lots of arms.
Pretty much. And then
that's terrific.
Try to get the cardio in. Like I do, I don't know what you have for like methods of cardio, but I have a mountain bike. I have, my sports chair, my regular chair. Like yesterday, actually, I played Frisbee golf with some friends.
No way.
And trying to move around in this thing in deep grass is a workout in itself. So
they had, in the gym that I go to, they just put in a wheelchair accessible, I guess it's like you pedal with your hands, so it's like got it's this pedaler, but you actually bring the chair directly into it and it locks in. So it's terrific.
Yeah, I mean the technology coming out to make everything accessible, right? Yeah. To be able to stay in your chair is huge for a lot of wheelchair users.
Yeah, that's awesome. Wow, good for you, man. So basketball wise, what's the plan now leading up to the next Olympics? What's the method?
My goal for 2028 LA is to keep putting in the work, and so far it's paid off. I'm heading to my first national camp in Toronto in end of July ish, so it'll be my first kind of taste at the next level. So my goal is to try to leave a lasting impression and keep getting invited back to camp, so that leading up to 2028, the year that they have tryouts, I have a good enough impression where I can make a roster spot and hopefully play.
Right. And so they would take, out of Canada, like the team's going to be 12 people or
12 people and probably 3 to 4 alternates.
Yeah.
So it's not a lot, especially when you have 40 guys showing up to camp.
Yeah.
Or you got to outcompete every single one of them.
Yeah. And so you got to be top 25%.
Yeah, exactly, which is, could be hard, right? Like I said, guys have been playing for longer than I've been alive.
They're old now. So it's like you got to beat.
Yeah, I got to age on my side.
Yeah, that's right. Wow, that's wild. So, good luck. That'll be amazing. So that's in LA.
Yeah.
For that next one. So, that's awesome. Man, that'll be exciting. Could be getting a medal. That'd be cool.
That's the plan, right? It's one thing to make Team Canada.
Yeah. Is there national teams across the world that are really well known for their Paralympic basketball team?
Oh yeah, like the Americans, because they have bigger numbers, more funding. They can play year round based on where they live. Yeah, and then the UK, Australia, like a lot of warmer climate areas play year round. And yeah, like I said, they've been playing for longer than I've been alive. So to diminish that gap is going to be a lot harder of a challenge. Yeah,
that was an interesting. I was in like really competitive mountain biking for a little while, and that was so obvious when you had people that as the climate gets warmer, they're training year round, whereas we would get stuck indoors up until like end of May before we could get on a road bike, and then our season was just so short. And all you could do is cardio indoors. It was terrible.
Yeah, how do you mitigate that gap, right?
And then anyone who was any good, they just moved to the States. Like you couldn't really compete by training in Canada. It just didn't work. So
whereabouts in the States?
I think mostly they stay close to when I was in mountain biking. So they just stay close to the Rockies. As it goes down, you just see warmer and warmer and warmer. So Utah is a really big spot for mountain biking, and because there's unbelievable mountain biking opportunities down there. So yeah,
That's awesome.
so yeah, the warmer it gets, the better, and then you can train year round. And then even there was guys that we competed a lot in Canmore because that was just like the pinnacle venue close to us. And then you'd see the guys that they would just like literally move to Canmore, or they would have been there their whole lives or whatever, and they were training in Canmore way more than I ever could because I'd have to drive for an hour and plus, and then get bikes, and so they'd have a huge advantage just to get off work and then just be on the hill right away.
Oh, that's to die for.
Yeah. And you imagine if you could be just you work at a basketball court and then it's just like, hey, work's over, now I'm playing basketball. Like that would be
that'd be so wild. Nice. Well, I think one of the cool avenues with wheelchair basketball is down in the States they have NCAA programs, so universities offer that kind of extracurricular to get more training in. But also, when you reach a certain level, there's pro leagues over in Europe. So you can go overseas and play year-round and play considered professional wheelchair basketball. So kind of mitigate the gap that way as well. So I don't know if that's in my future, but yeah, cool.
That's cool. I knew lots of guys that played basketball professionally in Europe. So it's interesting. They have interesting stories. They seem to be beat up pretty much like all the time, bad knees and bad backs and everything's painful. So
but I mean, the experience of living overseas, right?
Yeah, that'd be fun. Yeah, I don't know. It would be so then the other thing you're doing too is obviously we talk a little bit about men's health. We'll touch on that afterwards, but you have a foundation called the Strass Strong. Is that right? Yep. Strass Strong Foundation. Mm-hmm. What's that? What's the purpose of that, and why did you get going on that?
So the Strass Strong Foundation aims to reduce financial barriers for those looking to get into adaptive sports and rehabilitation. So, sports have been my entire life. I knew that, playing sport, it provided me, many friendships, experiences, and a lot of life lessons that I learned. So, after having the accident happen, my next step was to get back into sport. And I realized that there was just something, that was unfortunately holding a lot of people back, and that was the financial barriers in adaptive sport especially. So if you think about it, if I want to go play basketball, if I'm able-bodied, I just need my runners and a basketball and a court. Yeah. Versus if I want to play wheelchair basketball, I need runners, a basketball, I find an accessible basketball court, and I need a sports chair, which can cost anywhere from $3,000 to $12,000, right? So imagine a kid that wants to play, and he can't because, living life with a disability, you already have all these medical expenses to cover, and then you want to go into sport. So you kind of have to give up one or the other, and it's probably not going to be the latter. So the whole point of the Strass Strong is to raise funds to reduce that, to provide the equipment to communities and maybe aspiring individuals that want to be Paralympians eventually. So we're trying to reduce that barrier so that people can get into these sports and see the benefit that, sport gave me my entire life. And I just want people to see that kind of firsthand. And hopefully by providing the equipment, they can start getting into the sport without having to worry about any financial barriers.
Yeah. It's wild too when you think about the cost of any sport, even without the accessibility things. It's like, man, there's so many people that just aren't going to play hockey ever because it's so expensive. Or like basketball's cheaper, but it's still like we were spending when my son was playing, and he was good. Like he was like kind of in the top group, in high school, and then. But we were spending like into the 10,000, 20,000 zone because you got tournaments and you have fees and coaches, and there's a lot. Like you spend a lot, and that's on a sport where really all you have a basketball and a shoes. That's about all you really, maybe socks, but it's not much. But then you have all the other competitive stuff that goes into it, and it's like, well,
my little brother did talk about hockey getting more expensive. He's 13, and to play at the AAA level, I think it's 10 to 12 grand, right? Just to play for the season, right? And you're like, why? These kids are 13, 14 years old. Why? But that's the name of the game.
Yeah.
Right?
There is a lot of debate, of course, about, you have in Canada, just make up a number, 100,000 or 300,000, a million kids that play hockey that all are aspiring to be, Stanley Cup winners, but it's like...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you gotta come to terms. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and in some weird way, you have an interesting opportunity to be a competitive athlete without a lot of other restrictions around you. Like you're not, as you don't have to worry about some things in life. You can just do what you want to do. Now you can be really, really good at it, which is
exactly
that's tremendous that you can do that. So.
Yeah, no, I think that's the biggest thing is the ability just to
to focus.
To focus.
To be right into it. Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's like, people who aren't super competitive athletes don't really get the nature of obsession that you have to have in order to be really good at a sport.
Yeah, this is a funny story about obsession, and I think I'm going to incorporate this into my, it's keynote
bit.
talk, my bit. Yeah. So, I remember I was 13 years old and I had played tier hockey, which isn't very high. And my next goal was to play AAA. And I just remember the colors of the teams and the pant shells. And for whatever reason, that feeling of obsessing over these pant shells, wearing them one day, I would have dreams about it.
Yeah.
And eventually, you put in the work and all that stuff. And I eventually got to wear the pant shells. And I just remember the obsession. Really? Like, okay, if you want to make it somewhere, you have to obsess about it day in and day out. And that's what really separated that season for me.
And that separates out the people that truly succeed at most sports, and probably anything in life, really. It's, are you going to be good at your job? Are you going to be good at school? Are you going to be good at sport or whatever? So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I just don't get it.
The crazy thing too is sometimes when we obsess and we face a form of adversity or something like that, it's often easy to be like, well, this sucks. This is you kind of want to take the easy way out, and that's a whole part of the process is dealing with the crap, but doing it because you're passionate about that end project, that end goal, right? Is putting up with the crap and doing it day in and day out so that you can eventually reach that goal. So.
I don't know if you know who Rob Bailey is. He's a singer. You got to look him up. He has we'll have to add this to the show notes, but he does one song called Sacrifice. So he's kind of like almost heavy metal singer. I don't know I don't class songs very well, and he sings a lot of songs that for anyone working out, they should be on your playlist. And so he's yelling at you kind of. And the one song is Sacrifice. You'll have to go listen to it, but he just basically says, look, if you want to be good, you need to sacrifice all that stuff that's fun and happy and stuff. That stuff gets put aside. Deal with the stuff that you really want to do now so that you can enjoy that other stuff later. But you got to sacrifice it. And we're in our world right now where, just especially young people, no offense to you because you're kind of young, but like so many young people is like, no, you have to have a balanced lifestyle, and I have to have work-life balance. And it's like, dude, get out of bed early, get to work, do the thing you got to do and be the best at it. Don't be all worried. Like, I think this personally, I'm on a soapbox right now, but I think one of the worst things that people promote right now is this work-life balance, and that, and then it kind of plays into we're a part of the work hard, play hard environment. It's like, in reality, when I watch you, not you that I'm pointing at, but when I watch you, your whole work hard and play hard environment is you playing really, really hard and barely having time for work. That's what it plays into. And it's there's no balance in that. Like you're just enjoying life at the expense of you being really good at something. So yeah, it's wild.
Well, everyone has an idea. They're like, I want to be rich. You're like, cool, what's your plan? And they don't really have a plan. They're like, well, I got time. I'm young, right? And you're like, you don't though. You're setting yourself up for failure if you have no plan. So yeah, like you said, like eliminating the hard things. And that was, for me, about 2.5 years ago, I quit alcohol and drugs. Yeah. And, I thought, again, how am I going to minimize that gap in order to reach that goal? And that was one of the hardest things was, I still go out once in a while with friends and have a good time, watch a sports game, but I'm not indulging in the other extracurricular, right? And I think that's what really kind of helped me mentally get over some of those barriers and realizing that the sacrifice is worth the payoff. So, but yeah, to your point, a lot of people my age and even younger just have an idea of what they want to do, and they just think manifesting it is going to do it all for them.
You just have to act like you're rich or act like you're famous. And, and it's something you say that's interesting is I think a lot of people don't quite get that. If you skip a workout, one workout over 365 workouts might not be that big of a deal, but there's this whole kind of class of thinking where it's every workout matters. And, and I get kind of involved in the how to build muscle environment and how to be stronger environment. And the reality is if you want to gain a hypothetical 5 pounds in a year, you divide that out by how many exercise or how many workouts you're going to do. And it might come down to, look, you're only going to gain 5 pounds divided by 12 months, really you're talking about only half a pound a month, which is a quarter pound a week. like you're an eighth of a pound a week, which is like so small every single day. And so then people say, I've listened to some great people say, look, today's your day. You're going to earn 1/16th of a pound of muscle. That's your goal today. Go for it. Make it happen. Don't dog it. Don't take the day off. Don't cheat it. And then you start to realize it's like some people say, oh, you shouldn't obsess too much. Don't be so wild about doing what you're doing. It's like, I have to do everything I need to do that one little thing, that tiny bit of improvement. So I don't know. It's it goes, wild when you think of it that way.
Well, I think sometimes when we think of goals, especially me personally in the past, I've thought, okay, and I need to do something big and monumental today. You don't break it down to the small tangibles. What am I going to do today? Maybe I don't have time to work out, but you can do something that's going to at least benefit you in some capacity. That's going to get you an inch closer to that goal.
You're not going backwards, at least.
No, exactly, right? Yeah, unless you're stagnant. Yeah, exactly.
That's easy to do.
And I have people, certain people that have tried, chasing a certain goal, and they're like, oh, I did this one big thing today, and then I did this and this and this and this all day. I'm exhausted. And you're like, great, now do it again. And they won't.
Yeah.
Right? So
just got to keep pushing it.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting. Probably most people who have never had much traumatic happen is, I think there's this perception of if something traumatic happens, there's some recovery, and then you just kind of bounce off of where you were. And like, seriously, and I'm sure it was like way worse for you, but when this last little bit of surgery, I was only off for like 2 weeks. I felt like I'd never worked out in my life. Like, it was unbelievable how bad it was, and just like nothing was there. Muscle memory was gone. It was terrible.
I think the worst part would probably be the mental thing. Right?
Yeah.
I'm sure I don't know if you've got the same way, but if you miss a workout or you eat something that maybe wasn't the healthiest, you're like, you obsessed. You're like, I got to work out right away to burn it off, right?
Yeah.
So, not healthy.
Then there's, guilt plays in. And it's like, That's, the whole eating thing's like a whole other, that's a different podcast. Yeah. It gets me thinking about it. So, But, anyways. So your foundation, how's that been going? That you've had it going for a while now?
Yeah, we got charity status about 2 years ago. Cool. So we're continuing to add the right pieces of the puzzle, try to bring on board members that are going to help contribute, try to do fundraising campaigns, and then try to disperse as much as we can into the community. Our goal right now is to give out, as many donations as possible in a year until that bank account's almost hitting zero. But along with those donations, we're actually filming documentaries or mini episodes on the people that are receiving the donations. We call it the Turning Point series. So you kind of get to see where the money's going, but also how it's impacting the athlete. And so that's kind of our approach. We've done a couple so far, and we're hoping to keep sustaining that.
I should connect you we had Steve Messler on. He was an Olympic athlete. I should connect you with him, or we'll connect you with him.
Yeah.
Like he's an entrepreneurial founder. He has an association, and like he's done some amazing things too.
Sweet.
So you guys would gel. I'm sure you would. So that's very cool. And then, further to the TV thing, and that's kind of how you and I connected, was through Jesus and what he's been doing with men's health. And we had an event when you and I were both supposed to be, I think we were bookends. I was at the beginning and you were at the end of the show. Yeah, that's how we met. And he's helped you with some, I guess, would we call it a documentary sort of situation, or what was the TV show that you guys did, and what was it called again?
Yeah, it's a docu-series called We Were Broncos, and it essentially follows my wheelchair basketball career, and we're hoping that it leads up to the LA Paralympics, where we get renewed every season. So cool. That's where I met Jesus, and then the rest is history.
Wow. That's cool. And you're into episode 4 of 6. Is that what you're?
Yeah, it got released last night. They can be found on AMI or AMI Plus, but there will be a total of 6 episodes, and I believe the last one will be released on the first week of July.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that probably was an amazing experience. So
it was cool. I mean, it's tough when you're trying to do certain things and you forget the camera crew's there, and then all of a sudden the camera pops up, and you got to watch what you say and do. So it was exciting though, and I hope everyone likes it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then, do you still have more to do? Like, is there more to film now?
No, so we finished. We started in September, wrapped in April, and then they did a bunch of editing. Came out May 26th, and I flew around Toronto and did a full media press day where I went to like 5 different news outlets and then radio shows and throw out the opening pitch of the Jays game, and really got to promote the show, and it was super cool, and I felt like a rock star, right? But nowhere near, but the feeling of being in that situation was really something I'm grateful for.
Yeah. How is it, this is totally personal to me, but how was it throwing out that first pitch of the Jays game?
So leading up to it, about a week before, I just remember getting my little brother, who's 13. I'm like, we're going to throw the ball, and he's like, oh, like, come on. So I lined him up 60 feet away and just would throw the baseball, for a good hour before letting him back inside essentially. And then when I got there to the game, the catcher was there. I had the ball and I'm in front of the mound, so it's a little bit closer. And my instinct was just to chuck it. Like, don't worry about it, chuck it. Just don't think about it. And I chucked it. It seemed all right. It was probably a ball, but it was good. I'm glad I got to do it.
I seriously, it's very triggering to me, the whole thought of having to do that, because I feel like I would get out there and it's just going to like go off to the atmosphere. Like, it's not going to go where it's supposed to go. It would be super embarrassing.
It happened to an NFL guy last week or 2 weeks ago. I forget his name, but I can't remember what game he's at, but this NFL All-Star guy, right? He has his own podcast as well, but he goes to throw it and almost hits the guy announcing that he's throwing the pitch.
Oh, man. That would be – I don't know why it's so triggering to me. I think it's the idea of being in front of a ton of people, expecting to perform, doing something where you do it once and it's the only time you're ever going to do it.
Yeah, leading up, that's exactly how I thought. But, as I came to terms with it, I was like, you know what? Eventually, if I mess this up, people will forget. I'll never forget, but like people will forget and you move on with life. But that feeling of like, don't miss is definitely in there.
How many people were there at that?
I don't know. It wasn't a sold out game, but it was like Looney hot dog night. And so before the opening pitch, like before I threw it out, there had been over 30,000 hot dogs sold. So hot dogs could be bought for $1.
Yeah.
Right. And 30,000 gone before I even threw out the pitch. Whew. Crazy. Yeah.
Wow. How many hot dogs would the average person eat at that event?
I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
Yeah. Wow, that's wild. So that must have been just a tremendous experience just to be out there. And you got to meet the teams and everything too, right?
Yeah, it was fantastic. I got to bring home some stuff for my buddy. He's a big Jays fan, so it was his birthday, and I'm like, here's a ball, here's a hat, like
nice.
Here you go. So we're just very lucky, essentially.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then it's kind of odd actually, because it's not a basketball game. It would have made more sense if you got to toss the ball or at the Raptors game or something like that.
I think they weren't in town. I believe they're on the road, but that would have been maybe
that's the future. That's the next.
Yeah, exactly.
You're gonna do that next.
Yeah.
So wow, that'd be cool. Wow, pretty fun. So then, so you have this TV show going on, and unfortunately, we sadly missed doing our speaking event. But you are doing some speaking stuff too, right? Like that's part of your world. Yeah.
So after the accident, I got kind of tossed to the wolves in front of cameras and hundreds of people each and every day, and having to really hone in my story and talk naturally as much as you can to a camera, to a person, to groups of people. And then people just kept asking if I was going to share my story, if I'd go to their school, if I'd go to their company and do it. And for the first year or two, I put it off because my focus was sled hockey. And then eventually I hit a point where I'm like, well, if people are going to ask, and I better get good at it. So the first talk that I ever did was a school in Red Deer, and I showed up, and I remember just telling like locker room stories for an hour. And then the principal came out to me after. He goes, "So, what was your talk about?" I'm like, oh, that's a good point. So I hired a coach and finally had the story down pat, and eventually just kept working on it, and then eventually it grew to a business and something that I do on the side to help share the story.
What's the, like, if someone says, what's the point of your talk? Like, what's the, don't give the talk, but what is that, you get to the end and you say, thank you. What was the point of it? What's someone going to take away from it, do you think?
It revolves around mindset, and something that I looked at like pivotal moments in my life, and the theme or the quote that I kept coming back to each and every time I faced adversity was something my dad told me the first time I got cut was, when one door closes, another one opens. Right. And that underlying theme happened in so many stories in my life that I just kept building and building and building, and it even applies to this day, right? If something doesn't go your way, there's going to be another opportunity. You just got to work for it and find it. So that's kind of what the whole keynote message is about. It's about 50 minutes with videos and stories and a couple locker room stories. But I love doing it and get to travel and meet new people. Yeah,
it's a good message. I think a lot of people, I think part of it is that it's the other thing besides the live hard, play hard, work hard sort of mentality, is that there's this Instagram-y sort of belief that you can be anything you want. Just anything. I can be a bikini model next week if I choose it. But it's an interesting notion. I think the intention of it is that you can be a lot more than what you're probably being, but you still have to be prepared for, you can't be whatever you want. Like there's definitely a point when you have, like I've done myself in sport where I've gotten to several points actually, where I realize it's like my body is not built. I'm just genetically not going to be able to compete with that person because they're either bigger, they're smaller, they're just designed different, and I can do what I can do, but I can't beat that.
Exactly. So, and to touch on that, like, everyone as a kid probably has a different profession in their mind versus, where they actually end up. And people think that success is a trajectory. But I mentioned this in my keynote was, if I was to pick a team or to pick someone that's going to be on my team, I'm going to probably pick the person that has been through all this crap, faced adversity, learned, grew, and eventually came out on the other side versus someone who's never faced a form of adversity, has never made a mistake in their life, that this perfect person in everyone's eyes. I'd rather the person with the knowledge and experience of failing so that he knows how to come out of it because it's inevitable. You will face a form of adversity at some capacity.
Yeah. And you know what's kind of cool about adversity, and it kind of hit me, this probably hit me about 20-ish years ago, was that I think you're 100% right. Like everyone's going to have some form of adversity, and it's kind of that typical Sylvester Stallone. It's like, it's not how hard you hit, it's how hard you take a hit and get back up. It's that kind of sort of motivational thought that you got to take some hits, right? But there's a next level too, I think, and that's maybe what struck me was that I think a lot of people try to avoid the adversity. But then the next level is looking for it and causing it to. And so actually, like, getting up first thing in the morning and going to the gym, that's a form of adversity until it's easy. And then, or pushing yourself in the gym every single time. Or, like giving a talk in front of, 100 people is adversity. And looking for those opportunities, that's kind of the next level of it. Because I think you can still have adversity and still kind of crumble. But the people who cherish it and look for it and embrace it, that's a different crowd.
Absolutely. And I think something that's more prevalent today than ever is people are afraid to fail. It's taking that risk, and most people just never do it because they're afraid of failure more than they are of success. And it's a bit of a cliche, but how good does it feel to get a low score on a test or get rejected in public, right? Or whatever the case. It sucks, right? But you still live, you still move on, right? And you learn from it. So it's something that I'm working on is to try to put myself in scenarios where I know I'm going to get my ass kicked, like wheelchair basketball. I'm going to go play against the national team guys, and they're going to work me for an hour, but I'm going to keep coming back, right? And my whole mentality is, there might be people way better than me, but I'm going to keep going and going until they give up. To almost make it annoying to the point where they just give up before I do.
Isn't that, I think it was Kobe Bryant. I forget who was actually quoted as saying, you're not going to outwork me in the gym, or you're not going to beat me on the treadmill or whatever. So it's kind of that mentality of.
It's exactly, like there's so many amazing athletes, like the GOATs of all sports and in the business world, I'm sure as well, right? There's so many people look up to and take inspiration from and try to live your life like that, right? It benefits you in so many ways because if this all works out, the foundation, the keynotes, the gold medal, right? If it all works out, great. But if it doesn't, what am I going to learn from that? What am I going to take away and apply that to the next thing in life, the next open door?
And it's because you mentioned the work world too, and it's the one, I don't know, example or anecdote in the work world is that I think a lot of people, they see and they hear in news and on multimedia, it's like, oh man, the young people today, they're working like 70, 80, 90 hour, 100-hour work weeks. And it's like, man, they're just really go-getters. But in practice, they're working 35-hour work weeks. And they're just like, I'm sure, of course, there's lots of people working long, long hours. But that's the sacrifice. That's the hard part, is putting in your time. And I heard someone say, this probably goes back like 30 years, where someone said, it's that whole idea of being successful, showing up, and 80% of success is showing up or something of that nature. But then, everyone can work a 40-hour work week, but you succeed by working longer and harder than the next guy and just outworking them. So,
I like that. That's
makes
awesome.
A lot of sense, actually.
Exactly. So. Like to touch on your idea of the sacrifice, right? Is there's no solutions ever. There's only trade-offs. It's like, what are you willing, willing to trade off, right? In order to be successful. And there was a quote I remember, or a video that went around as a kid before I started working out and really got to make a high-level hockey team. Was I can't remember the guy's name, but it was like how if you want to be successful, you almost have to learn to want air as much as you want to be successful. I can't remember the story. It was like a guru met this guy and he dunked his head underwater.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And he's gasping for air and he's like, if you want to be successful, you got to want it as bad as you want to breathe, essentially. Yeah. So I thought that was kind of cool. It stuck with me.
I remember that. I can't remember who said it, though.
Yeah, I'll have to find it.
Yeah, that's a good one. We'll have to look that one up. Want air. Yeah, that probably plays right into like SEALs training and a lot of the high-level military training is they put you in underwater to see how long you'll stay there.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, and just see how bad you want it. And you may die.
Yeah. Oh, I bet. Like it's one thing to preach and regurgitate a lot of information, and that's something I love talking about it and trying to do it. But at the same time, it's like you want to lead by example. You just don't want to talk the talk. You want to be able to walk the walk. So I think trying in my daily life to actually live by what I say or what I hear, right, is something that's important to me. And because I've met a lot of people that just talk the talk. I'm sure we see a lot of people on social media that just talk the talk. Right?
Yeah, and I think you're bang on. Like even business, sports, relationships. Even I think we see so much hitting us all the time, and it's just like, oh, that's really easy. Hey, tomorrow I'm going to be a roller skate dude or whatever. I'm going to be a professional roller skater, and it's going to be easy, and I don't have to put in my time. But that's not the case at all. Like nothing comes easy. Like if you want to be really good at something, you gotta put the hammer down.
Exactly.
Make it happen. So,
yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. So and I guess I see that a lot in the workplace where it's just, oh yeah, I've already worked for 6 months, so I should be the manager now. And it's like,
oh man.
Okay, sure, whatever you say.
That's tough. Yeah. There's so many people that believe that they have earned it when they haven't earned it yet, or feel entitled to this promotion or idea that they're better than they are. And I'm all for betting on yourself for sure, but you got to back it up with the work you put in, and it shouldn't be for a certain title or position. It should be because you want to see the dream of the company succeed. Yeah,
and this is it's interesting that I'm going to predict the trend. It's just bubbling up right now where people are, it's a lot of like in the gym mentality. I think what we're seeing in the gym today is people not working hard. They just show up and they're just moving around. They're not really going as hard as they used to. And it really got me thinking that there was, I think there was a video, I forget who was in it. Arnold Schwarzenegger was in it. As of yesterday, he was in it. He's like 100 years old. But he was with somebody and he's like, yeah, people just today don't work out hard anymore. They're all on cables and they're just on machines. Back in the day, if you wanted to get big, you did bent over rows, bench press, squats. You did the hardcore heavy stuff, and the machines make it easy. And that's maybe what's happening in life is, even in the work world, you can make it easy to just use AI. Like you don't have to think you don't have to put your head into that. Just let AI deal with it for you. You don't have to be good anymore. You just let AI do it. So, or you find an app. And it's the crazy thing in business too, is that as soon as there's something that's even slightly hard, there will be an app instantly and there will be a salesperson on the phone trying to sell it to you. And it's just basically saying, hey, look, you don't have to do that work. We'll do it for you, and it'll be cheaper and easier and more efficient.
And it's tough because it's so easy and it doesn't require any energy from your brain and you're not as tired doing it. It sucks because it is the easy solution, and I know a lot of people that use ChatGPT and whatever the case to help them with the most menial tasks. But I mean, that's where the difference happens, is who's willing to put in the work and put pen to paper instead of just relying on someone else to do it for them.
Be original.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like you can't let ChatGPT do your workouts for you. No. Like you got to put in your time. And I got a call today. This is weird. Like I got a call. It was a sales call, and you get right off there was something weird about it. And she goes, first off, hey, I just wanted to see if you would hang up on me if you knew that I was an AI-generated chatbot. It was a weird question, because then I actually said, no, I wouldn't, but it all depends on what you wanted to talk about. Yeah. And then it was all, look, I'm going to make your life easier by basically taking some of the thing that you actually are good at and you really interesting, because that company is not even making the effort to interact with me as a human. They're just going to use a chatbot to get me to say yes or no and move on. Seems lazy.
Yeah, a little bit.
Really lazy.
But that's the biggest thing, is everyone wants the biggest reward for the least amount of work put in, and there's nothing you can do about it.
No. No, and for some people, maybe it's terrific and great. Good for you.
Yeah.
But most of the time, what I've seen is the people who win are doing the work. Like they're putting in the effort. They work longer hours. They study. And it's like for you, right? Like, you know, to think you can just show up and play basketball and never study what you're doing, not understanding what's going on. Like I had to do, as I was mentioning before, I had to do some coaching because my kids were in basketball. It's like I never understood what they were doing. And so the other coaches that were really good coaches, they would run plays and stuff. And I was just like, I don't know, run harder or whatever, because I had no idea what they were really doing. But they understood it, and it made the kids so much better.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, like I mentioned, it's, you know, some people can get away with skill, the 1%, and some people show up and they do all these things, and they might be successful, but is that short term or long term, right? Who's gonna win that gold medal game, right? Is it the people that put in the work and gruel and have earned it, or is it the people that got by on skill?
Yeah. You know, it is weird though. Like it's like the total other side of the conversation. It's weird when you find someone who's just physically so capable, and they just seem to come out of the box like dialed in. Like, I don't know if you ever saw, there's a movie or a documentary about Iverson, and like, holy crap, that as a human was fascinating. He was so fast, and he could play basketball and football, and it would have just been are you going to be better at one or the other? And he had to choose. And it was just like when you see him on the field, and he is just like, you get two people together and he's just like, zoom. It's like, wow, that is crazy. It was wild. Like, that's a good documentary.
As a kid, I used to be jealous of those kids. Like, I could, you know, play with guys that were hungover or whatever and get 3 goals and, you know, a couple points and as if nothing happens. And, you know, it's one of those things where you're like, okay, you know, they were born with that. I wasn't. I got to put in the work. And
they don't always end up at the finish line either, though. No, like, a lot of them just, you know, they don't appreciate what they've been given, and they just kind of,
it is what it is.
They mess it up. So, yeah, that's a wild thing. So, but who knows? Yeah. But what else is going on in life?
Yeah, right now, one of the coolest things I'm trying to dive into is actually building the first ever accessible off-road vehicle. So I bought myself a Ford Bronco because I want to take it off-roading a little bit, go camping and have that ability to. But what I learned, and this is done with a lot of research, was that when people with disabilities want to get back into driving with hand controls or anything like that, they're very limited as to what they can get. They can buy a small car that's easy to get in and out of, or they can buy a minivan with a ramp that's going to cost them $120,000.
Yeah, right.
So our goal is through this project is to allow people to buy whatever vehicle they want and do, you know, sort of an air ramp system where it lowers it, and custom grab bars and a rail system that goes throughout the entire vehicle, so you don't have to get in and out for a third of the cost. So the biggest thing with living life with a disability is the monetary values and the financial barriers that get put up with everything that you do. So this project, it's kind of a shot in the dark, but we're doing it because it's going to be fun, and I'll have a vehicle that I get to use this for, and we're hoping that hopefully it spirals into something, and then we get to save people a lot of money, and they can get the vehicle that they want.
Yeah, you know, it's this goes back quite a long time, but people in wheelchairs, they often love hunting, and they loved hunting before they ended up in a wheelchair. There's some tremendous hunters who are in wheelchairs, and they have these wild off-road wheelchairs, and some of them are bow hunters, some of them they're quadriplegic and they're still out hunting, and it's like, it is so wild, like what some of them, and mostly it's just driven by, hey, I want to hunt, so I'm going to have to make this thing, and they invent these wild wheelchairs in many cases, and they're just off in the backcountry shooting bears, and it's so wild.
I'd love to do that. Like, if you have any links, I'd love to check it out.
Yeah, they're all on YouTube. Like, I've seen them. Yeah, and just you see people just usually they're out with friends too, because that would probably be a little dangerous if suddenly a wheel came off or something. It would not be a good situation. But just go on YouTube and take a look. Awesome. There's some pretty wild stuff that's out there.
I'd love to. That's unreal.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. So, well, I'm going to let you get off to your day. It was super great to have you, and it really saddened that we weren't able to get up on stage and give a talk. It'll happen. Yeah, it'll happen. So we just got to figure out how we got to rally behind Jesus. It was called Unmasked was our event that we were going to do. So we'll make it happen. It's going to happen at some point, maybe by fall or something. So
there we go.
Yeah, and best of luck with this show. That's going to be amazing. That'll be awesome.
Thank you.
And then we'll see you with your gold medal.
That's the plan.
So, you'll for sure be back with the gold medal. That'll be amazing. So, all right. Well, thanks very much for coming in. We'll talk again.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right. Okay. Bye for now.